Generating monthly passive income while building equity over decades is a highly effective way to grow long-term wealth. But when you're preparing to buy your first investment, it is incredibly tempting to approach real estate the same way you approach bargain hunting. You find a property with a low asking price, calculate a small monthly mortgage payment, and assume that cheap overhead automatically guarantees positive cash flow. This cost iceberg illustrates why that math rarely works. A rock-bottom price is simply the visible tip, masking hidden liabilities. Below the surface, deferred expenses add up: unexpectedly high property taxes, failing HVAC systems, high vacancy periods, and mandatory flood insurance. Every investment property forces you to make a trade-off between upfront affordability and long-term predictability. If you don't evaluate the true holistic cost of ownership beyond that initial sticker price, your supposed bargain will turn into a financial trap that actively drains your personal savings. Protecting your investment starts with evaluating the first critical pillar: location and tenant demand. A high-demand location gives tenants a reason to stay. You want to look for properties situated near commuter rail stops, major local employers, and everyday conveniences, similar to the steady demand you see around a hub like Bridgewater Center. These prime locations will command a higher upfront purchase price. In exchange, they yield significantly lower vacancy rates and consistently attract reliable tenants who pay on time. That brings us to the second pillar: financials. Looking at a property's maximum rent potential in a vacuum is useless unless you aggressively factor in the cost of operations. This bar chart shows how gross rent is distributed in the real world. From that top-line number, you must subtract mandatory conservative estimates for high property taxes, property management fees, and a dedicated monthly maintenance reserve. Running these harsh numbers will heavily shrink the projected on-paper profit margins of the property you're evaluating. Padding your math with these expenses is a defensive necessity. It ensures you have the capital to handle inevitable real-world problems without operating at a monthly deficit. The third evaluation pillar is physical condition. Specifically, you need to assess your risk for capital expenditures, which is the most severe threat to your bottom line. Superficial cosmetic issues like ugly carpet or bad paint are cheap to fix, but a 25-year-old tired roof, a cracked foundation, or an outdated HVAC system will require massive cash outlays that destroy your immediate returns. During the inspection phase, you have to be willing to walk away and lose a $500 inspection fee. Letting go of a bad property saves you tens of thousands of dollars in those immediate structural repairs. The fourth pillar is local regulations. Even a structurally flawless home in a great neighborhood can be a bad investment if municipal rules restrict how you use it. Geographic location creates regulatory traps. If you buy in a coastal town like Wareham, flood zone regulations may force you into expensive mandatory insurance policies that eat your cash flow. Strict local zoning laws or HOA restrictions can legally block your strategy, preventing you from renovating, adding bedrooms, or even renting out the property at all. If you neglect to inspect the foundational systems and the local bylaws, your affordable property instantly becomes a legally restricted money pit. This comparison matrix breaks down two real-world paths: buying cheap versus buying premium. On the bargain path, a modest duplex in Middleboro offered a fantastic upfront price and solid on-paper rent. However, digging deeper revealed rising local vacancy rates, a roof that needed immediate replacement, and new zoning rules limiting future improvements. On the premium path, a single-family property in Rainham required a much higher initial capital investment, but it sat near major employers, featured fully updated mechanical systems, and showed strong, consistent rent growth. The buyer chose the Rainham property. They secured stable tenants and steady cash flow, while the Middleboro property would have drained their reserves through repairs and vacancies. Paying a premium for a property with updated systems in a growing area mathematically yields a much safer and higher return than gambling on a fixer-upper. Because no rental property is flawless, finding the right investment depends entirely on your available capital, your skills, and your free time. This decision tree matches resources to property types. Buying cheap properties with deferred maintenance works if you have a construction background, cash reserves, and free time. For busy professionals wanting dependable equity growth without day-to-day headaches, a premium turnkey property is required. Regardless of the route you choose, a rental property is only valuable if it performs consistently today while appreciating for tomorrow. Thorough due diligence, conservative financial modeling, and expert guidance are what protect your bottom line. Define your goals, look past the sticker price, and invest for long-term stability.